Our second video today will finish the characters we need for days of the week and time. Time is a particularly nasty character, but we have one even nastier. This character is Earth, as referenced in the mythical 4 elements. As Earth's primary content, it can also mean soil. Notice that the first 2 strokes are, wow, the first 2 strokes of ki. Stroke 3 goes across the bottom and is longer than stroke 1. Length is important. If you confuse the lengths, you create a completely different character. Drawing this character will be easy. Strokes 1 and 2 form a cross, and stroke 3 goes across the bottom. It's longer than stroke 1. This is also a pictograph. It began as a seedling starting to emerge from the soil. It's easy to see how it got simplified to this. There are 3 pronunciations for this character. The most common own reading is do. However, to is also used. The kun reading is tsuchi. The final character you will need to learn to read and write today is time. As you know, we often measure time in hours. This is a nasty character. However, if you break it into smaller pieces, you'll see how it comes together easily. Can you see how strokes 1 through 4 actually create he on the left side? You can ignore the extra lengths in some of the strokes. That's just this font. Strokes 5, 6, and 7 are just a miniaturized version of do at the top on the right side. That means all that you really need to think about are the last 3 strokes, 8, 9, and 10. The stroke order should be familiar. Stroke 8 goes across, stroke 9 goes down with a hook, then the little mark is stroke 10. These last 3 strokes actually form a character that deals with measuring things, like time. Let's try this monstrosity together with the Super Animatron 7000. Strokes 1, 2, 3, and 4 create he on the left side. Strokes 5, 6, and 7 create do on the top on the right. Finally, we end with strokes 8 through 10, across, down with a hook, and a small drop. Although this is not a pictograph, we can create a story that can help us remember it. To do this, it's important to remember that the right side of the character is also a character by itself. It means temple. Kind of looks like one, right? Anyway, here's the story. We can measure the time of day by watching the shadow of the temple on the earth. In reality, this is a compound semantic phonetic ideograph. That sounds complicated. But what it basically means is that the left side tells us the character is about time, and the right side tells us that one of the pronunciations is ji. In fact, that's the own reading. The kun reading is toki, but when following other characters, it's often doki. I do like my story to help memorize the character, though. Relax. You don't need to learn to write this one. However, you do need to read it. Before we get to the meaning and reading, however, I want to use this character to demonstrate again how looking at the different parts of the character can help you remember how to write it. Just like toki, the first 4 strokes form he on the left side. This tells us the character is associated with days or time. Strokes 5, 6, and 7 form what now represents a katakana yo. This font uses a mixture of yo and the older traditional character, which is why some of these lines are extended. Next to that, strokes 8, 9, and 10 do the same thing. Notice that I'm not following the outline of the character exactly. That's because, once again, this font was created to resemble more traditional characters. Modern fonts look much more like what I'm creating. Here we are, over halfway through this beast, and we have only used 2 characters that we already know. Wait, what do I see in the middle there? Strokes 11 and 12 make the katakana E. And now we're 2/3 through the character. If you wanted to learn to write this character, just remember how it's assembled from other characters and these last 6 strokes. For these last 6 strokes, just remember the rule: left to right, top to bottom. There's nothing on the left, so we'll go from top to bottom. Stroke 13 is obviously the top, stroke 14 is right below that, and it's followed closely by stroke 15. Now the order is obvious for strokes 16, 17, and 18. Can you see how using previously learned characters and a simple rule can help you learn to write some of the most complicated characters more easily? Now let's talk about what's important. This character means weekday or day of the week. It does not actually have a kun reading, so we only need to learn the one on reading, yo. Once again, we have a katakana hiragana lookalike with u. Don't worry too much. You'll see this character so often you won't be able to forget how to read it. When writing, feel free to write yo in hiragana. Reviewing is always good. No change has been made to the number collection or the other collection. However, we just added quite a bit to the time collection today. The gray character at the bottom is yo. It's gray because it's a recognition character. You do not need to know how to write it. You must know how to read it, though. I know I sound like your mom telling you to clean your room, but let's review the katakana again. At this point, we know 33 syllables, including the choompu and the sokuo. Do you have these in your table to help you study and prepare for the writing exam? Don't forget the diacritical markings. Currently, we know 17 of the 25 syllables in this table. Again, did you write them in your table? Yes, there's a lot to keep organized, hence the sheet with all the tables. Do you have these 21 palatal syllables written on both tables? Remember to practice writing these syllables both horizontally and vertically. Finally, the syllables borrowed from foreign languages. We know syllables from 8 of these families, for a total of 13 syllables. Just like the palatal syllables, it's important to practice reading and writing these vertically and horizontally. That's it for today. We'll see you in class.